Hello and welcome to Friday Double Bill. This is the month of February and Oscar fever seems to be everywhere. To tell you more about it, here's Mayank Fahad.
Well, that's just to reflect on what the whole world is discussing right now in their drawing rooms, who will be the winners and who will be the losers at the Oscars this year. But before that, coming up on Friday Double Bill are two top reviews from this weekend. The first one is the Hollywood release, that's Love, Rosie, followed by Shamita.
Since the moment they met at age 5, Rosie and Alex have been friends, facing the highs and lows of growing up side by side. A fleeting shared moment, one missed opportunity, and the decisions that follow send their lives in completely different directions. As each navigates the complexities of life, love, and everything in between, they always find their way back to each other. But is it just friendship or something more? Based on Cecilia Ahern's best-selling novel, Love, Rosie attempts to be a heartwarming, modern comedy of errors, posing the ultimate question: do we really only get one shot at true love?
Well, while watching the film, Fahad, the first thing that occurred to me was how much of a bread and butter film this is. Every generation gets a movie like this, as it should be. And, it's only the actors that keep changing. So now the first thing that, of course, that strikes you, at least struck me, was how beautiful, how gorgeous is the leading lady in the film, Lily Collins, if I'm not mistaken.
That's right.
She could well be Julia Roberts, but from another time, obviously. And the other one, the guy, I'm forgetting his name right now.
Sam Claflin.
Sam Claflin. Now, he could be Hugh Grant, except that, Hugh Grant is much older playing this role, but that's precisely the chemistry that they're looking at. And at the end of the day, this is a romantic comedy. We hope that the audience likes both the guy and the girl and hope that they should get together.
This is the classic Valentine's Day film. 50 Shades of Grey was supposed to release, it hasn't.
Which would be another kind of Valentine's Day film.
Completely and utterly, different strokes for different folks in every sense of the term. But this one is that film that you've seen every few years. The same film gets made in Bollywood and Hollywood. Will they, won't they get together? It's a function of going through the paces, sitting through about 2 hours. And to finally find that the young lovers are meant to be, they're destined to be, and it's just what new they can bring to the table. Other than some wonderful cinematography, really sun-dappled, beautiful cinematography, I found very little going for the film. I found it tedious. Yes, the boy has, is one of the young teen throbs, heart throbs right now, thanks to the Hunger Game films. He's got a huge Hugh Grant complex, working very hard on that. The girl is gorgeous, as you rightly said. She was in Mirror Mirror, lovely English rose, destined for greatness. But and despite their chemistry, I just thought it was a bloody tedious film to sit through.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned that, Fahad, because there are certain things that increasingly are becoming common between both Hollywood and Bollywood. Is the fact that they look at that age-old question: can man and woman just be friends? And they've been doing it since the 70s here. They're doing it even now in the 2015 in America, and it's quite interesting that as generations change, the questions remain the same.
Well, when Rosie met Alex, when Harry met Sally,
right,
when whoever met whoever, it's classic, And God knows, Hollywood really needs to reinvent itself with some fresh stories.
Well, my oh my God moment, Fahad, will have to be the moments when I, thought to myself, oh my God, when does this movie get over? By itself, exactly what the premise of the film is, and then there is a girl and a guy, they're best friends for the longest. Now, it's very hard if you've been so close as friends to turn that relationship into something else. So then they bring in Juno, therefore she gets pregnant, and there's the whole thing about being pregnant at such a young age, and all those things that happen to any girl if they choose not to abort, and in this case, because she's Catholic.
Well, her parents are Catholic, so she decides to honor that and not have an abortion. How exceedingly thoughtful. But she also doesn't tell the best friend,
right,
who it's not like it's her child,
right,
or his child rather,
yeah,
and decides that let him go to Harvard, and if she tells him, he would, the abortion is supposed to happen the next day or something like that. It's hardly.
So basically, these are all devices to stretch a screenplay. They're called idiot plots for a reason. And then when you can't stretch it any further than that, that. Then you bring in class issue, and therefore he's become like this, in a particular social circuit in Boston, and she lives back in England as this, maid in a hotel. Now, I mean, there is, I understand that, eventually you need to make a 2-hour film to qualify it as feature film, but there's no reason to keep carrying on like this.
Oh, couldn't agree with you more. One of the most tedious films I've also had the misfortune of sitting through in a long, long time. Not only that, but what one can only be grateful for is the fact that this film originally, the book that it's based on, was based over a 45 years span. They have condensed it into 12 years,
right.
And God knows at 12 years it is more than enough.
Right. Well, Fahad, I think you said it right. This is set over 12 years, and it feels like we've been watching this film for 12 years. Anyway, I think one of those movies that we saw, last year, Boyhood, was also set, I think, in that many years. And of course, that's when you know how great Boyhood is. But, that's another conversation we'll be making after the break. That is Boyhood and other Oscar nominations. So far as this one is concerned, it's a payco from my side.
As far as I'm concerned, it's not quite a payco, but for God's sake, there can be better things to do this Valentine's weekend, like cuddling up with someone you love and not inflicting this atrocity upon them.